Hello, welcome back to FM Live. My name is Mike Usrey, and today we are going to be announcing a new FM shop car. So what that means is that every now and then, sometimes we need another car to test out a new product or to do development because we're looking to come out with new products, or sometimes we have to do a build for a show or an event or something along those lines, and occasionally we need to add to the fleet. So we're going to announce that car, show you what it looks like and what we're planning to do with that all in this video. I will remind you in advance that if you have questions about this car or what we're planning to do with it or suggestions on what you think we should do with it, drop those down in the comments below because we do want to hear from you. We kind of have an idea what we're going to do with this car already, but let's just say that its future is not completely certain. So any ideas and suggestions, let us know. We'd love to hear what you think would be cool to do with this car. All right, so that's enough preamble. Why did we get this car? What are we doing with it? Those are all questions that will have to wait because, of course, everybody wants to know, what did we get? Is it an ND3? Is it another NC because we have turbo kits? Is it an NA or NB because, you know, those are always fun. Here, I'll wait for a second. Put in the comments, what do you think? What is it? What is it? No, nothing. Come on. Okay, so while we have plans and we could probably do any of those cars for more development stuff coming up, was that Ethan? He was probably commenting. Yes, of course it was Ethan. I'm watching you. I know what you're thinking, Ethan. What we're going to do this time is an NA6. Woo! So, did that surprise you? Did you guys think that we were going to actually get the very first Miata that came out? Let us know. Put it in the comments. Is this a surprise? Are you pleased? Are you here for the pop-ups? We know you are. So this car in particular is a very clean example. We found this not too far from us, actually. It is a 1991 Miata. It has a little over 89,000 miles on it. It is, of course, classic red. The only other acceptable answer would be Smurf blue, of course. Let me grab my cheat sheet and get this out of Travis's shot. There we go. So, besides that, the other notable thing about this car, that it being a relatively nice, clean example, I wouldn't call it quite a survivor car because it's not completely stock. You can already see from the exterior that it has NB wheels on it rather than NA wheels, so there are a few things like that that have been changed. But overall, this actually is a very nice, relatively stock example that we were able to find, and we'll tell you more about why we chose this car in a little bit. But to tell you a bit more about what this car came with from the factory, this is a 91, as I mentioned. It's actually a B package car, which means that it basically came out with all of the options available that you could at the time, except for an automatic transmission. So other options that would have included at the time, starting here at the front, is this super cool lip, what would become known as the R package lip in the following year. But before, in 1991, this was an optional extra. So you could check the box, pay a little bit extra, get this lip, and the dealer would install it for you. Pretty cool. But yeah, before the R package was a thing, you could get this lip as an optional. Besides that, it does have a paint matched, and from the factory, this is actually the hardtop that came with the car, but a matching hardtop. So this is the original hardtop. It does have a defrosterless glass, because that's what they had back then. It does have the shiny glass latches on the underside. It does have the side latches as well, which is pretty neat. It's all there and accounted for. Besides that, on the exterior that's easy to see is this trunk lip spoiler. This is another thing that would become our package paraphernalia, and it was an option for 1991 before it became our package stuff. So another cool little thing that box got ticked whenever this was ordered from Mazda. Let's see, besides that, it's got power everything. So it has power windows, which is a new thing, and was I think a B package only thing unless you had it as an optional extra for the lesser models. It does have power steering. It does have ABS, which is another optional box that was ticked. And it does have, what was the other thing? That might be it for the power things. They didn't have power mirrors and power antenna out in 1991, so those are the only things that are not powered in this car. But power windows, ABS, and power steering, I think, were the big optional extras or inclusions with the B package that this car does have, and they all work great. Air conditioning, I suppose. So, let's see, exterior-wise, yeah, we talked about the wheels. They're 15-inch NB, so they are stock wheels, just not from this car. But they actually suit the look pretty nicely. I do like a classic five-spoke on an NA. I think it looks good. And of course, 15s are a great size for NAs and NBs. Otherwise, as far as history of this car, it has about 89,000 miles on it. It's had a little bit of maintenance, here and there, but otherwise hasn't really had a whole bunch done to it. It does have Flyin Miata sway bars already installed on it. We didn't even have to do that. Of course, more stuff will be on it later. But besides that, the only other outstanding aftermarket things that I've found on it is that it does have some rev limiter window switches, which I think are super cool and very retro looking. Shout out to Adam. And it does have a very interesting Panasonic, kind of period correct, or maybe late 90s, I think, potentially, Panasonic head unit for the radio. I have seen some Japanese characters, kanji or whatever, popping up across it once every now and then, so it's a pretty cool little throwback for kind of a time capsule machine like this. On the interior, you can see that this is pretty much stock. There's not much going on in here besides that. It is a particularly nice example. The dash isn't cracked. The cluster surround is in great shape. The tombstone looks great. Even the stock shifter boot is in good shape. It's not cracked or torn. Things are not perfect, but for a driving car, this is great. It's a nice condition. The only other thing I think that's aftermarket that I've noticed anyway on this car is it does already have a hard dog roll bar, and they have the vinyl wrap with the padding underneath it. This is it looks like an M1 Sport bar without the diagonals. So first time I actually got in this car and was looking around, I didn't even notice it because it's so stealthy and blends in with the interior. It only took me, driving it once or twice to realize, oh, what's that in my rearview mirror? I could just see it across the top, and I noticed the roll bar. So pretty cool value add, I think, on that guy. Still has the factory top in the back. It's in pretty good condition. It hasn't been up anytime recently because this car has had a hard top on it for quite a while. But otherwise, yeah, interior's in great shape. Still have the factory floor mats, don't have any issues with things missing or, hardware that's fallen out or things like that. It's in really, really nice shape overall. Let's see. So, I just remembered the other notable thing about options for this car is that it does have the viscous limited slip differential. It's not the smooth case, but it is a viscous limited slip. But yeah, that's about it as far as options and other things that this car came with and has that's kind of special given its age and given the B package that it is with some of the other boxes ticked. So let's change directions a little bit and talk about what are we planning to use this car for. It is the mighty 1.6 liter engine, as Ethan likes to say. So this is actually a car that we haven't had a 1.6 in our fleet for quite a while, possibly since, I guess technically since Whoosh, Bill's original 1.6 car, left us when we purchased the business from Bill and Terry back in 2000. There hasn't been a 1.6 car in the building that's been an actual FM-owned car since then, and that hasn't been a whole bunch of an issue because there's so many parts shared between the NA8s and the NBs as well, but we're starting to get to the point where there's enough question marks about new products that we're looking to develop, potentially polishing some existing products that will better suit the 1.6 cars that we wanted to have one. And, for development purposes, that's really important. We do have several other cars in the building. We even have some engines on stands in the back that we use for verification to make sure that products will fit when we design them to do certain things, or if they have to fit a wide year range of applications. But pretty much nothing beats having the whole car here, because then we know all of the fitment, whether it fits the engine, whether it fits the chassis, whether it needs to fit both of them together, or anything in between, of course. So that's a big reason why we have this car. We also have this car because we think that it is a nice stock example, and we actually don't have many stock examples of most of the Miatas here at the shop any longer. It's kind of a trend, but you'll notice that as we get cars and modify them, of course, they become less and less stock. So it does make sense for us to turn over the fleet occasionally. We don't try to, turn cars over every couple of years or so, anything like that necessarily, but there comes a point in an FM fleet car's life that it has kind of had a little bit of everything, and so at which point there's not enough stock left on it that it makes a lot of sense for us to retain as a car to use for development. So turning over the fleet every now and then to have a stock car, so that way we can make sure that everything fits with stock components and our components as well, is always a good thing. So let's see here. Besides that, of course, the other big thing that we like to use new cars like this for is if we want to test out some new show event or taking a car to a show for a specific reason. If we wanted to use a car that was a bit more street oriented for, maybe summer camp event, or we wanted to take something that was a bit more racy track oriented for Miata reunion or whatever. We might have cars that are built up for specific reasons or events that they kind of have a slightly different path than the usual builds that you see both on our media sites and others as well. So this is a fresh start. We can take this car and do with it whatever we want to, depending on what we think might be useful or interesting or eye-catching. So this is where you come in, because you as the viewer, we'd love to hear your input on what you think this car would be best used for. Do you want us to see have this car turned into a race car? Should we keep this a time capsule street car with some tasteful mods? Should we lift it a little bit and make it a safari cruiser? Should we make this into some silly, crazy tire roasting drift car? I don't know. Let us know what you think this car would be best used for, because we haven't quite yet decided. We have an idea of what we'd like to do with it, but we're open to input. What would you like to use a 1.6 car like this in this condition with these options used for? Let us know. Drop us a comment, send us an email, send us your ideas. Now, one of the things that we get asked about with our cars is that because we do see quite a few cars, we've had dozens that we've owned over the years, and sometimes they leave and sometimes they stick around for a long time, but all of those cars have a name. And we do that because it gets to the point where, if we have to say, which Miata are you talking about in the garage? Well, it's that one white one, that one blue one. Sometimes we have multiples of each. And we could say, hey, that new red NA. And we would get the point, but we've had several red NAs in the past. So to try to future-proof a little bit, we always name these cars. That way they're unique. They have a little bit of personality, and we know which one we're talking about. We have a few ideas. This car, it had a little bit of a, shall we say, a fun romantic story that came with the car when we purchased it. And because it's red, and because it's kind of cute like a cherub, we thought, maybe we should name it Cupid. We've also had some suggestions about, well, it's red, it's an NA, so maybe we should call it Alfred, like Alpha, NA, red. There's options. What do you think? Do you have ideas for what we should name this car? It's actually kind of a hot controversy in the office at the moment, so if you have input or any other clever names, let us know. Maybe they'll stick. So, I'll stop there. I've talked a lot. Do we have any questions that we want to answer that I haven't already?
When are we going to jump it?
Ethan or Kian, whichever one that is, we're not jumping the car. Maybe, I don't know. I guess if it becomes a safari or overlanding car, maybe we jump it. I don't know. Kind of seems a shame, honestly. So nice. I did drive this car recently, and it is such a different experience from driving NCs or NDs, or even modified NAs and NBs. This is, again, not quite a time capsule, but it is such a throwback experience. Everything is so raw, and it feels very much like you're wearing the car rather than riding in the car. It's very exhilarating. I'm not really one to be nostalgic about NAs and NBs personally. I've had them. I like them. But mine were always very modified. So being able to ride in a car, drive a car that's this stock, honestly, is pretty neat. I recommend if you get the chance and you know somebody who has a pretty nice stock car like this, go for a ride. It might change your opinion on what mods you do and don't want. Okay, what else?
Is this car getting a turbo?
Is this car getting a turbo? Well, if you know Flyin Miata, that kind of is a question that answers itself, don't you think? Yeah, this car's getting a turbo. It's really a matter of when at this point. We want to use all of our cars that we maintain out here to be able to have some kind of an effect for, one, showcasing the products, but also testing out and making sure things work the way we want them to. And some of the things that we're looking at for kind of refining processes and products and developing new products will be centered around our turbo kit. So this car will get a turbo because that is one of the things that it needs for us to do some development and testing to make sure that it works the way we intend it to. So we're going to take 90-ish horsepower and we're going to bump that up quite a bit. We shall see what happens, but yes, forced induction is in its future for sure. If you have any other comments or questions about this car or suggestions on what we should do with it that we haven't talked about, oh, I see some fiddling.
Sorry, just trying to turn the light on.
Oh, not yet, never mind. Drop those comments, suggestions, questions in the comments below. Put them in an email, give us a call, let us know. We love talking about Miatas, of course, so let us know. We'd love to see what ideas you guys have, see what options and things you'd like to see Flyin Miata do with this car, what fun things are in store. Of course, we will document and video most of it along the way, so keep your eyes peeled on this channel and, of course, on our other social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever it's called these days, I don't know, all that stuff. Of course, if you like this car, you want to see how this progresses, be sure to hit the subscribe button. You can click the bell if you'd like to get notifications for when we release new videos about this car and lots of other stuff, so that way you'll be notified of that in the future. And again, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate your attention. Let us know what you think about this car. But otherwise, we will see you next time. Same day, and hopefully something new and exciting. Thanks again. My name's Mike. We'll catch you later.